Greetings and the best of salutations, Um, created for to be analyzed. Created for to be analyzed. It requires critical thinking, and that's to be very, analytical, analytical, literally created to be analyzed. The mind at its best is to be productive. And one must look at the environment which, produced a particular thing, individual, or that which has been created when it comes to creation. To create a decree, that which you ate or has a appetite for. And one must realize that be able to, to develop a appetite for being productive, being productive. When you go to the store, they have a produce section, Yes. So that also has something to do when it comes to diet, that which, one consumes, or that which one is to be about becomes a lifestyle, and that becomes a lifestyle. It becomes that which called a law. A law. Yes. Put into practice. That which is put into practice is something that is very simple, In animation, animate that which, gives life, It's to be productive and in a very practical way, So one's side view. The term itself denotes a position that one's take, further from the plane of the midline, or of the body, or a surface pertaining to a side. What is your another side of you? There's someone that says this is another side or another part of me. Because remember, we are put together in parts, or come about in stages of development. Stages of development. Yes. And in that development, there is something that is enveloped. Something that is placed in the envelope, and something that is sealed. Yes. The mind is like a parachute, It's better when, it's opened up. So, but if you open up and what has been put in it is something that has contaminated and corrupted, and to make it to become unproductive in a way that is destructive rather than constructive, then you make things difficult. Yes. Rather than making it becomes impractical rather than practical. When you get up, in the morning, or morning, whatever you are mourning over, and you break your fast by getting up from that which you were fasting from, and you call it it is called a mourning. Yes. And it comes about in a way that you start your day, a day of warmth, a day of peace, and knowing that there is something that you need to do in a practical way in order to be productive, Maybe at times one will have to go and get some food, May have to go out into the garden, that which he or she has planted. That's practical. The body needs nourishment to eat, to order to sustain itself. It needs nourishment. And that's just practical. That's simple. The impractical way is when people create in their minds money or something as a trade-off to leverage you, to control you, that makes it difficult for you, and which is impractical for you to be able to have the basic necessities of life: food, clothes, and shelter. So something must be wrong in one's view or attitude about life. Something must be going on in their cerebral, if I may use the word, in their brain, that renders them to be, unbalanced, and create an imbalance, chemical imbalance, or create an imbalance in the environment. Because once you throw off the ecology of the environment, one's intellectual aptitude for learning becomes difficult. Yes. So this practical way of living has nothing to do with anything that is outside of us that we consume and bring on the inside of us that intoxicates us when it comes to obtaining things in this material world that helps and superficially empower us, our titles, our money, trying to make a reputation for ourselves, maybe drugs and alcohol, stuff like that there, if I may use it, in that language. Because circumstances makes us other than ourselves, Yes, circumstances makes us other than ourselves. So, this brain, this filter, the left and the right hemisphere, that which we were created to be analyzed, to be very analytical, critical thinkers, critical. The hymn, to be maybe hemmed in or hemmed up in this ram, hemmed in this ram of existence. Yes. Left and right hemisphere in the mist. Yes. And the cerebrum, it says, I'm not talking as if I am a doctor, but in itself contains, they call major lobes of the brain, and that it is the point I want to make, that it is responsible. We talk about the responsibility of balance, of living a practical life, a simple life. Yes. For receiving and giving. Receiving and giving. The responsibility that we have to live a practical or simple life is an exchange, but the wrong attitude of when it comes to the money or leveraging that and controlling people is being misused. The interactions that we are having with ourselves and with this creation, something is impractical and immoral and unethical about it. Receiving and giving, the responsibility that we have in a practical way of, in the simple way of receiving and giving, because whether we know that not everything is always transacting with something else. It is receiving and giving. Some give more and receive less. That creates the unbalance. But when we give of ourselves, we are receiving what we are giving. It is like a reaping of what has been sowed. So, if one is giving for the purpose of seeking some type of reward, then they may be giving something for the wrong reasons. So if I give you something that's going to hurt and contaminate you, well, what you think is going to come up upon you and the population of the society and the world in which we live? What you think is going to come back up on you? For you are giving for the wrong reasons. So we must give responsible. We are responsible when it comes to the cerebrum, the brain. Yes, we must give in regards to that which we must be responsible with in the practical way of the giving and the receiving, in a way that will further instill and bring about the balance of life in a meaningful way. Because we are here, because we have meaning. But when we devalue each other, when it comes to the language that we share in our interactions one with another, it sends a signal to our brain that we have been irresponsible. So in this irresponsibility, by being irresponsible, then we fall short of being accountable. But in that responsibility, because all we're doing is responding to our ability, our natural evolving process unto completion to serve as a complementary to this plane of existence to help reinforce the realignment of being balanced in the left and the right hemisphere of the brain. This balance that we need in our mind, our body, in our spirit, in our relationships one with another, and in our environment. So if there is a unbalance, that means that we have been irresponsible. And therefore, we feel as if we have no meaning. And then when you feel that way, someone will determine and give you their meaning that they want for you. So therefore, they place the value on you. So yes, you become of a greater value to them who has controlled your worth when you are dead. Who does that, When the value and the greater value is in the contribution of living life. So, the responsibility of receiving and giving meaning to what? To information. Being, we are created to analyze that which have we been responsible with when it comes to receiving and giving meaning one to another, when it comes to information, and that must be based on empirical data. So information means that you are in formation. Wherever direction you turn, you are in formation, and therefore you will proceed from the census of that which are formulating itself in order. And when there is order, there is duty. When there is duty, there's responsibility. With their responsibility, there is accountability. So, therefore, when we are responsible with receiving and giving meaning to each other, when it comes to informing each other, or that which is informing us for that which we were created to be, is to analyze this stuff here. It's to analyze creation. It's to analyze ourselves. Oh, if we learn from for that which have been created. And that's so. Once we learn from that, then therefore, as a result, it will awaken our senses. And therefore, we will have better control over our actions and in our activity and in our thinking and in our behavior. In a simplistic and a practical way, like the greeting of one another, the smiling at one another, the embracing of one another, the helping of one another, the caring for one another, the loving of one another, the sharing for one another. But it must first start with self-knowing that which we were created for, that which is suitable in this hemisphere, should the spark that which is called divinity, and is in our nature to be responsible when it comes to the balance of receiving and giving. That is meaning. That is meaningful. That is the information that awakens our senses, and it controls our body, our action, and our activity will be under control, because the source of all conflict is attachment. So let us remember this when it comes to the practical, what we were created for, to be analyzed, and to be, when it comes to analytical, this, with the right attitude of what creation and this being creative, critical thinkers, yes. And never forget, the math, because the equal sign is balance. It says it equates to an end result. Balance. Einstein said this in closing: the same level of consciousness that created the problem won't solve the problem. Until the next time, stay strong. Talk to you.